For the holiday trio. First thing, and I see this done wrong a lot, when you pull these things out of the package, you got to check your grain. It doesn't take long. You can take it, look at it, see your grain's running up and down this way. We want to cook that that way. This is on its side. You can see its grain running that way. I'm going to flip her over. Make sure we're cooking her that way. This one, again, you can see the grain's running this way. You wouldn't want to push that flat and cook it like that. Push her back up, turn her over like this. Grain's running straight up and down. This one, a little funnier looking piece, but if you just take a look at it for a sec, you can see grain running up and down that way. That means this medallion gets cooked this way. Every piece of meat has to get seasoned before going on the grill. Searing at one side and then seasoning at one side, seasoning the other, not the same thing. Have to be seasoned before it goes on the grill. When you first turn the grill on today, you don't want to leave that thing for an hour or so just sitting there getting dry. As soon as you turn it on, you want to hit it with some oil, whether you use a spray bottle or whether you use a rag, and keep hitting it throughout the morning until you open up. The more you do this, the less food you will have sticking. If you have a problem with the first 15-20 minutes of service, you have things sticking to your grill, it's because you are not seasoning it in the morning. So as soon as you turn it on, every time you walk by, stop, hit that with a little bit of oil. Hit it with a little bit of oil, you're going to find it's much easier to cook any item. So take your steak. Again, we made sure we had our grain running up and down. We're going to throw them on the grill. Our steaks are marked and cooked to temp, ready to go. The last thing we do every time before we take anything off the grill, they've cooked well, we see that nice moisture on top of them, that's going to go right back down into the steak as soon as we take it off the heat. So anything that we cook on the grill, the last thing that we do is give it a little brush of butter. You don't want to burn that butter off, but that gives it a nice coating of that butter, and it's going to absorb it down into it once it goes in the window. Okay, we're going to fry the shrimp and lobster for the holiday trio. I have 5 shrimp here and 3 ounces of lobster measured out. These, of course, can be cooked together. They're going to take right about the same amount of time to cook, so no need to worry about cooking them separately. Good dip in the egg wash. Make sure they're evenly coated into our shrimp fry. Again, make sure they're evenly coated. And then we're going to go directly into the fryer with them. Okay, our lobster has been down for about 1 minute 45 seconds. You can see they're nicely cooked. The breading's sticking to them well. You have good color, but they're not too dark. And we're going to go ahead, drop them in our save-a-day. Get that extra fryer oil, get that extra fat, let it drain right off them. Come on over. Again, notice how we cut the lobster into small enough pieces that you've got plenty of them, but you can still tell what it is. You can see that that's lobster. You can see that that's a shrimp. Very important that you can actually tell what it is. You're not getting, I mean, if you're cutting it into tiny, tiny pieces and you end up with something like that, all that's going to taste like a shrimp fry. You're not going to notice that's lobster. So make sure you got those good big pieces in there. Okay, we're going to take 2 of our filet medallions, put them down, and then we're going to take this, and you don't need to take your time and really try to assemble it on there. There's so much going on here, so much flavor. You can really just kind of shake it right on top. Get it all on there. Remember, we're going to have mashed potatoes and green beans on this plate also. So all your food, you can see all of it stacked up nice and big there. You can see plenty of it. You're going to want to finish it with your sherry cream sauce. Make sure this sauce is good and thick. If it's too thin, it's going to run right off it. You're just going to end up with a pool of watery sauce on the bottom. You want it to actually stick to the seafood. So when you're doing your line checks, if you notice this is too thin, stop, throw it in the pan, hit it with a little bit of roux, make sure it is going to stick to the seafood nicely. This calls for 3 ounces of it. I have a 2-ounce ladle here, so I'm going to hit it with the 2 ounces. I want to make sure I get a good coverage everywhere. Come back, 1 more ounce of that. See how the sauce was thick enough so that it does stick to that fried food. It doesn't run right off the bottom. We are still getting some of it down there. It's a little kind of the best of both worlds. A little bit of parsley, and there you go. Harry's Holiday Trio.